Welcome to the Jacksonville Bar Association podcast. My name is Craig Shoup. I'm the Executive Director here at the Jacksonville Bar Association. Today we welcome longtime JaxBar supporter Sean Mulholland. Sean is the president and founder of Mulholland Investigation. Sean spent several years as a sergeant with the NYPD. During his tenure there, he worked with the Tactical Patrol Force, Street Crime Unit, and was a confidential investigator to the first Deputy Police Commissioner. Sean is a certified legal investigator, fraud examiner, and protection professional. He's also an adjunct professor at several local universities and at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, FLETC, in Brunswick. He founded Mulholland Investigation and Forensics in 1996. They offer investigation, surveillance, computer forensics, cybersecurity, and security consulting. Before we get started, we do like to say a special thank you to our Jacksonville Bar Association sponsors. These sponsors include Ameris Bank, Dex Imaging, Dixon Hughes Goodman, Member Benefits, Mulholland Investigation and Computer Forensics, Veritex, Florida Lawyers Mutual Insurance Company, YFast Networks, Seaside Claims, CH Mediation, the Jacksonville Daily Record, Ullman Wealth Partners, Diamonds Direct, and Scarlet Group. At this point, we do have a quick message from one of our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Steve Strum. I am a financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual Wealth Management Company. I am a proud supporter of the Jacksonville Bar Association. As a financial advisor, I help lawyers make good decisions with money. Those decisions could be investment accounts, insurance planning, estate planning, business planning. If you want to know more about what I can do to help serve you, please call me at 904-505-8852 or check out my website. Thank you very much for your support from the Jacksonville Bar Association for these years, and I'm happy to continue supporting you guys now and into the future.
We appreciate the support of all of our sponsors of the Jacksonville Bar Association. Well, Sean, after all that, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Good to be here, Craig. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about you and your path and your life growing up and what led you into the work you're doing now as a private investigator.
Well, I grew up in Queens, New York, and always had a lot of respect for police officers and law enforcement. My dad was actually a probation officer, and actually, it's for a point of time, served as the New York State Parole Commissioner. So I had an interesting career, and was also in academia for a few years, and went off to college at Salisbury, North Carolina, Catawba College. Met my wife there, and studied criminal justice and political science. I did a semester of law school at Drake University, and Drake University realized I was probably not well suited for that, and I probably agreed with them. So moved on and became a police officer in New York City back in 1980, and got promoted to sergeant pretty quickly. It was a little bit of an advantage having come out of college and having some law school. We were studying the same kind of law, so that was kind of interesting. And then after a while, we had a couple of children. My wife decided she wanted to come home to her hometown in Jacksonville. So we came back to Jacksonville in February 1989, and I've been here ever since. And I worked for a few people, and then in 1996, started my own company, August of 96. So we just had our 25th anniversary in business. We now own a building downtown Jacksonville on Adams Street, and had a pretty good run at it.
You guys have been such a important part of our legal community for a number of years. You've been a sponsor and partner with the Jacksonville Bar for more years than I can remember.
Jacksonville Bar has been very good to me. Craig, certainly working with you. Craig and my daughter were good friends growing up, so I've known Craig for a long time, and it's been very good to me. It's the monthly luncheons give me an opportunity to get out and see people face to face. And it's also very interactive, and we've worked together on some service projects and some pro bono efforts, and even some recommendations come from the bar. So it's been a very good sponsorship for us.
So tell us some cool stories that you have been a part of, either your time in the NYPD, maybe some time as a private investigator here in Jacksonville. What's some cool stories that you just always stick with you?
Well, one of them in New York was working in plain clothes in a street crime unit, and a call came over the radio that an officer had been assaulted. And when we walked up into the third or fourth story of this apartment building in Brooklyn, there was an officer there with a bloody nose. And he pointed to a door and he said, "This guy's in there punched me in the nose." So my partner, who was a big fella, kind of your size, knocked on the door, and the door came open about a foot, and they slammed it closed, at which time my partner hit the door, and the entire door fell in. And it fell into a drug operation. There were thousands of dollars and drugs all over tables being counted. And one of my most memorable parts of it, a guy jumped out the window. I guess we were second, third story. And the woman went out the window, and we're pointing guns at her, telling her not to jump. And she jumped out, and she landed on the other guy and snapped his leg. So we could hear it. So interestingly enough, she ran, and by this time there were so many cars, a cop grabbed her, but the other guy tried to hobble away, and he had a broken leg. But there were 1,100 little tins of cocaine and probably $4,000 or $5,000 in this apartment running this drug operation. So that was pretty memorable. It was pretty, but hearing that girl hang and fall down onto somebody down below her was something I'll never forget, that sound. Over the 25 years in the private investigative side, certainly done a lot of things. I worked with several of the bar members, including Melissa Nelson and Hank Cox, and several other very prominent people, Buddy Schultz, on a Christian Fernandez case. And we were preparing for him to be acquitted, and ultimately he got a very lesser penalty than he was. That was very memorable for me, because this was just a bunch of very dedicated, high-level, sitting around a table with these people. We did a lot of the computer work on some of the computers and phones in that case, and that was very memorable for us.
So tell me what you enjoy most in the private investigative field. I know you see on TV the sitting doing the stakeouts with the giant cameras, or you're digging deep into the computers and the metadata. You hear all about all of that. What's your favorite parts of it?
My favorite part of it is actually the networking. I like working with the legal professionals and the people that are hiring us to try and optimize the objectives that people are trying to reach. So that's my favorite part. Sitting in a hot car doing surveillance in the summertime, the least favorite part. I'm not a big fan of report writing. We've been told that our reports are very good, and that's why people use us, because the quality of our report. One of the nice things is everything we do we'll testify to, and we have. And that's a little bit of a difference between our firm and others. On the computer forensic side, Vince Rosato is a 30-year FBI veteran, testified, worked on some very high-profile cases, including the 9/11 terrorists. So Vince was intrinsically involved in that investigation. So the forensics is interesting, taking evidence more now today off of phones than any other devices. But interesting to find people think that they can delete things, and people think things are gone. But and on many occasions, they're not. And the evidence that's on phones and computers has really taken a bit of a real move forward in our cases. The litigation support is interesting. Being deposed, I enjoy that, being part of trial testimony. My personal area of expertise is the security negligence. Interestingly enough, it was almost the majority of cases with defense, but the pendulum has swung. And I think because we heard a bunch of the plaintiff people, we've now got a few, it's pretty much of a balance, plaintiff and defense cases. And that's an interesting change that I've seen over 30 years in business here, is that there used to be attorneys and people who did defense work only, and now some of the people do some defense work, and we've got to be careful not to have a conflict. We've got close to working on both sides in some cases, which is always a problem. But other than that, the interaction with the legal community in town has been very rewarding and quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I would not enjoy sitting in that hot car either. That could get long and tedious, I'm sure, for many hours.
I always talk about the disservice done to professions. And probably the profession that has the most disservice done to it by television is the legal profession. Because what you see happening on TV and Law and Order and some of these shows is just so far from what really happens. But police also. You never see a police officer or detective on a TV show do a report. And it's the most horrible part of being a detective, is one report after another after another. The private investigative industry is certainly in that same kind of channel, because, Tom Selleck driving his Ferrari, that would be nice to have that car. But it also has done a bit of a disservice as far as some of the work is very monotonous, very tedious. a lot of times if you're sitting on surveillance, you might sit 2 or 3 days and never see anybody move. And people don't realize that my people don't like that, and some of our clients don't like it either. But there are highs and lows, and some days have 2 highs and no lows, and some days have 2 lows and no highs. So it's one of the fun things about the private investigative industry that we're in. Every day is different. And you might have, a similar assignment for a same client, but the different people involved or different locations involved. So nobody's getting rich in the investigative business, but it is kind of rewarding, and it also is something different every day.
So you've touched on this a little bit, but let's circle back a little bit to the value you see in being a supporter of the Jacksonville Bar. Why do you continue year after year to be part of our group?
Well, interestingly enough, over the last 4 or 5 years, our work has shifted into a litigation support role. And it's interesting because the diverse membership of the Jacksonville Bar, certainly you have criminal attorneys that we work with, you have insurance defense attorneys, you have personal injury attorneys, and that cross-section, even people that are doing probate and heirs, estates, they're asking us to find heirs. So interestingly enough, although the litigators in the Florida Bar and the Jacksonville Bar Association are more of our clients, it's very advantageous for us to be in front of people in a wide variety of different areas. Locating witnesses to accidents, taking pictures of accident scenes, and then also the forensics. The forensics comes into play in family law, the forensics comes into play in criminal law, the forensics comes into law in a lot of accident cases, and certainly there are opportunities in a lot of different silos within the Jacksonville Bar Association. So it's been very helpful to us getting our message out.
So one of my favorite questions we have in this series, as many people know, I don't miss a meal very often. What are some favorite places you like to go with your family to eat dinner here in North Florida?
Well, it's a good question. We have a lot. One of them I just lost was my good friend Anthony Candelino at River City Brewing, and we were sorry to see that go. And Anthony said he got out at just the right time. We love fish, so going out to the beach to some of the restaurants on the Intercoastal, always a lot of fun. Caps down in St. Augustine, a favorite, although it's gotten to be pretty pricey. They've got a little full of themselves. And we love barbecue, so the bearded pig and the Bonos and and certainly even some of the Italian restaurants. So as you get a flavor, we don't miss a lot of meals too, and there's a lot of great restaurants in town. Players Grill, and certainly having lunch frequently during the weeks with a lot of attorney friends and clients. A good friend of mine yesterday, Jeff Sessions, and I had lunch at Hurricanes. So it's just convenient. And then right down the street is the Olive Tree, the Mediterranean restaurant. So that's fun for us. So lots of places for lunch and a few different places for dinner. But there are a lot of good restaurants.
I may have seen you once or twice in Bonos.
Yeah.
May have been once or twice. Well, Sean, we appreciate you coming in. It's been fun chatting with you. If somebody wanted to maybe talk to you about the investigation business, or maybe referring you a case or hiring you for some work, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, we just recently redesigned our website. So you can go to mulhollandinvestigation.com or mulhollandforensics.com. Both go to the same page. And there's contact information there, and there's opportunities to fill out forms. The thing that we really like is for people to call us. Mark Ammon is my office manager, has been with us 14 years, versed in a wide array of what we do. And we prefer the face-to-face. And people are welcome to come to our office if they feel that's more comfortable. It happens frequently. But certainly a phone number, 904-354-7989. We welcome people to call us. We'll schedule appointments at their convenience.
Thank you, Sean, so much. We're glad you're here. Glad you've been a longtime supporter of the bar as well.
Craig, thank you very much, and thank you for being a good friend.
Always, Sean. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on our next episode.